Belgrade police!
Police department!
Anybody inside, come out!
Don't shoot me!
Who shot you?
No, please don't shoot me!
I'm not gonna shoot you, ma'am. What happened to you? Where are you bleeding from?
I'm not bleeding.
Okay, well, how do you have blood all over you?
Do I?
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know why I do.
On January 7, 2018, a Belgrade police officer responded to a report of two individuals shot at a residence.
911, what's the address of your emergency?
I live at the next door neighbor. She just came over in barracks and said somebody shot her roommate.
Okay. Did it just happen?
Yeah, she said it just happened. She needs an ambulance in place. So
Okay.
the roommate Ashley is the one that's still alive.
She is still alive?
She said she is, yeah.
Okay, tell her to take a deep breath, okay? I'm going to ask you some questions. Is Ashley bleeding seriously?
Was she bleeding? Yes, she said yes.
Okay. All right. All right. Do we know if Ashley's completely alert?
No, I don't believe so. I mean, she just saw it and she just ran.
The first responding officer arrived to find a third roommate outside who had called 911 from a neighbor's house.
What's going on?
I stayed with friends last night, and I just came in and I saw that my back door had been broken in, so I went to the back and I could see footsteps in the snow, so I ran up to my room to see if my roommate was okay. I have two roommates.
Okay.
One of them's dead, and the other one is in her room, and she's still alive, and she needs help, and I ran because I didn't know if he was still in the house.
Okay, so you don't know if there's somebody else in the house?
I don't think so, but I don't know.
Okay.
Lauren looks like she's been in a while, and Ashley's asked me for help, and I ran.
Okay. Is this door open?
Yes.
So we have two people upstairs. Is that what you're telling me? Okay.
Help, Ashley.
After gathering information from the roommate, the officer prepared to enter the residence to provide aid to the injured. However, with no confirmation of the suspect's whereabouts, there was a concern for potential danger inside the home.
What do we know?
So roommate is next door. She said she came home, found the back door kicked in.
Ma'am, I need you inside the building, okay?
One apparent dead, one still alive.
Officers decided to wait for backup to arrive before entering the residence, ensuring they could proceed safely and avoid a potential ambush by a suspect who might still be inside.
She said this is open. I didn't see any footprints in the snow leading up here. So, you ready?
Yep. Belgrade police!
Police department!
Anybody inside, come out!
I'm going this way. Bye.
I got stairwell.
Police!
Son, 3206.
Kitchen clear.
All right.
Garage.
Okay.
Upon entering the residence, the officer's first priority was to clear the house and confirm whether a suspect was still present.
593-206. Where are you at? We're making entry right now.
As they proceeded, officers heard the cries for help from an injured roommate located upstairs.
How many people are inside? We're making entry. How many people?
Garage clear. Up the stairs. We're coming.
Belgrade police, show me your hands. The doors on the left and right.
Okay.
In the initial search, responding officers entered the first bedroom, where they discovered a female victim with apparent gunshot wounds, who was unresponsive and appeared to be deceased. Based on information provided by the third roommate, the victim was identified as Lauren DeWise.
She's cold to the touch.
Okay. The video? Okay. All right, let's back up.
Lauren was first introduced through work at Rocky Mountain Bank, where she had recently been promoted to branch manager. From the start, her presence was magnetic, and she quickly became a beloved colleague. Her passion for the outdoors, love for camping, and vibrant, jovial personality made her someone everyone wanted to be around. She was known for her kindness and a warmth that seemed to light up every room she entered. On a Monday morning, Lauren had a scheduled 10 a.m. appointment at the bank. A text was sent to notify her that the appointment had arrived, but there was no response. Roughly 30 minutes later, the team was instructed to lock the doors, and the heartbreaking news came. Lauren had been found deceased. The shock was overwhelming, and the idea that someone so full of life could be gone was incomprehensible to everyone who knew her.
Police!
Hey! I'm in here!
Officers proceeded to the second bedroom, guided by the sound of a female screaming for help, clearly in need of immediate assistance.
Hello? Police?
Please don't shoot me!
Who shot you?
No, please don't shoot me!
I'm not gonna shoot you, ma'am.
My name's Ashley!
Ashley, what's going on? Who shot you?
Nobody!
Oh, what happened?
I don't know! Please come here!
Who did?
Are you the police?
I'm the police, right here.
Where are you?
I'm right here. Can you see me?
Where are you?
I'm right here.
Where?
Situations like this are among the most challenging an officer can face, requiring a balance of urgency, caution, and composure in the face of uncertainty and distress. One deceased individual was found in one room, while an injured victim, surrounded by a significant amount of blood, was located in another.
What happened to you? Where are you bleeding from?
I'm not bleeding.
Okay, well, how do you have blood all over you?
Do I?
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know why I do.
The injured victim was disoriented and unable to articulate what had happened or the extent of her injuries, making it challenging for officers to determine the best way to provide assistance.
Show me your face there.
I'm right here. Can you see me?
No,
Can you see anything?
no,
No?
no.
Okay.
Please help me.
We're gonna help you, okay?
Please help me.
We've got the medical people coming. Where do you hurt?
I don't hurt anywhere.
You don't hurt anywhere?
No.
The top priority in such situations is always the preservation of life. The officers quickly acted, moving Ashley out of the room to ensure her safety and provide immediate medical attention.
Grab around the front. No. Yeah, we got a blanket.
Ashley, we're gonna pick you up and we're gonna carry you down to the paramedics, okay?
What are you doing, sir?
We're gonna pick you up and carry you.
Carry me there. Where are you carrying
We're coming down.
The scene was cleared hastily, leaving many corners and hidden areas unchecked in the urgency of the moment.
Yeah, just as far as I can get to the door. We're gonna go out to I don't want them to pass the sidewalk right here.
At that moment, the focus was solely on saving lives. Evidence and other concerns were set aside as the priority shifted entirely to saving her life.
Yeah, just as far as I can get to the door. We're gonna go out to I don't want them to pass the sidewalk right here.
Who's the most senior paramedic?
The following day, updates from the medical staff provided insight into Ashley's condition. She had sustained a substantial gunshot wound to the back of her head, along with multiple gunshot injuries across her body. Her condition was critical, and there were moments when her survival was uncertain. Eventually, the hospital informed investigators that Ashley had pulled through. This development allowed them to visit her and conduct an interview as part of their investigation.
So obviously, you know, we're here to talk to you.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we're gonna have some questions, but mostly we just want to hear what you have to say.
Okay.
Just starting out,
Yes.
and I know this is kind of a tough question, but can you tell me, do you remember anything at all?
When I got shot?
Mm-hmm.
No.
No.
I remember waking up in the hospital. I don't really remember actually waking up in the hospital. I remember kind of doing the I love you sign to my brother when I was, you know, obviously laying in the hospital bed. But no, I do not remember being shot at all. Or however many times they shot me. I think they got me in the shoulder, and I think in the elbow too. Obviously the head.
Well, yeah, you're a lucky gal, but everything that I've heard, so far is, you're a fighter.
It's a miracle I'm alive. I thank God every day.
Ashley recounted her initial experience after waking up in the ICU, describing it as a blur with little memory of the early moments. She reflected on the unimaginable anguish her family must have felt upon receiving the call about her being shot. Her parents, grappling with the fear of losing their daughter, and her siblings, uncertain about her fate. Despite the trauma, Ashley found comfort in the presence of her mother and brother Caleb, who remained by her side throughout her recovery. Coming to terms with her new reality was difficult, but she held on to her faith, believing that with God's support, she could overcome anything. There was hope and optimism that Ashley might be able to provide a statement and identify the shooter. Unfortunately, due to the severity of her head trauma, this was not possible. Understanding the potential for memory loss, investigators approached the interview prepared for the possibility that she might never recall the events. They devised a plan to gently guide her through the evening, aiming to jog her memory. During the conversation, Ashley shared what she could remember, including that she had gone out that night with her boyfriend, Ralph.
So Saturday, this would have been before I got shot, obviously, the day before I got shot. We went to a place in Livingston. It was a hotel.
And you said Ralph drove you home?
Yes, he did.
Can you tell me, do you remember anything from the drive home?
I don't remember a whole lot, no. Maybe if you ask me a more specific question, I might be able to answer. I don't know.
Do you remember any conversations that you guys were having?
Not really specifically, no.
Going from when Ralph dropped you off, what's the last thing you remember that night?
Really, the last thing I remember is I gave him a kiss goodnight and in the car, and he was like, "Okay, I'll watch you go and get inside," and I was like, "Of course you will." So then I went inside. I shut the door, obviously, and really from there on, I don't remember too much.
Investigators needed to explore various scenarios to determine the nature of the incident. Questions arose. Were both individuals intended targets, or was one an unintended victim simply because they happened to be home? With Ashley still in a critical state of recovery and hospitalized, the priority was her well-being. To avoid causing further stress or complications, the interview was concluded at that point. Ashley reflected on the many questions that plagued her, especially wondering, why did this have to happen to me? She struggled with the reality of being shot and the trauma that followed. However, through the journey of healing, she came to realize that it wasn't her responsibility to understand all the reasons behind her suffering. Instead, she placed her trust in God, believing that no matter what happened, He would remain by her side and give her the strength to overcome anything. A line she now lives by has become a source of hope and resilience for her. What the enemy meant for evil, God will turn for good. At the crime scene, investigators collected several shell casings from a small caliber pistol, along with shoe prints in the snow around the yard. The footwear impressions were particularly notable, as they led from the front of the residence to the back door, which had clearly been kicked in by the assailant. Careful documentation of these impressions in the snow was conducted to preserve the evidence. Once collected, all items were sent to the lab for analysis, a process that could take days, weeks, or even months depending on the complexity and volume of tests required. As investigators delved deeper into Lauren's background, they discovered that she had been married to Paul DeWise and was in the process of seeking a divorce. The couple shared one daughter, while Paul also had 2 teenage children from a previous marriage. As details of their relationship emerged, it became evident that interviewing Paul DeWise would be a crucial next step in the investigation. Officers issued an attempt to locate alert for Paul and his vehicle, recognizing the potential danger he posed due to the involvement of weapons in the homicide. There was concern that, if confronted, he might resort to violence to evade capture or conceal crucial details of the case. The Belgrade Police Department ultimately located Paul near his residence and conducted a traffic stop to safely detain him.
Keep both hands up. Open it with the outside. Okay? Go ahead and get out. This is not time to think. Get out. Hands up. Sure.
Hands up. Walk over here. Turn around. Look away from me. Walk backwards. Keep coming. Keep coming. Stop. Get on the ground. Get on the ground.
Hands with that guy.
Do not move. Do you understand me? Take him to the back of my car. All right.
Paul was ordered out of his vehicle and taken into custody without incident. He was then transported to the police station, where he was placed in an interview room. Detectives promptly began the process of questioning him as part of the investigation.
So the reason that I wanted to talk to you is there was some issues that happened over at Lauren's house this morning, and I just kind of wanted to touch base with you to see if you were over there at all, if kind of where you were this morning, that kind of thing. Well, someone broke into the back door of her place, and so we're trying to get all of the stuff together, and from what I understand, you guys were separated and working on a divorce, and that's kind of where we're at.
Sure, right?
Well, not really. She isn't. Well, the person that came in ended up shooting her. So
she's dead?
Yeah. So
oh my God.
So that's why we're talking to you, because you guys are going through a divorce, and from what I understand, and we need to kind of figure out what's going on.
And so, absolutely anything that you can tell us that might give us a little clarity would be helpful, I think, for both of us.
This is news to me. I don't know anything about it.
Complete news, complete surprise.
They told me when they picked me up they're investigating a homicide. I did not think there's some weird stuff's been happening to me since I've been in Bozeman. So I'm like, geez,
Yeah.
Well, let me just right off the bat. I understand Lauren, regardless of your relational issues. I understand.
I love her.
Lauren's very important to you.
I love her.
And I'm so sorry that you're going through this right now.
When delivering a notification like this, there is an inherent uncertainty. At that moment, it's unclear whether the individual is a suspect or a grieving husband whose wife has just been murdered. Detectives must carefully navigate the situation, balancing investigative caution with empathy for someone who might be a victim. This approach helps establish rapport while allowing the truth to emerge.
Can you tell me a little bit about how the separation has been going?
It depends on who you ask. Like, for her, it's fine. For me, it's been really tough.
Well, I want to know from you.
I've had trouble dealing with it,
During the conversation with Paul about his relationship with Lauren, he appeared visibly upset about the state of their marriage. He expressed frustration over their separation and revealed that he had been actively trying to reconcile and bring them back together. His emotions were evident as he spoke about the difficulties they were facing.
Can you, let's just start with a basic timeline. So what about last evening, last night, as detailed as you can, say from the end of dinner time? Tell me about what you did.
I fell asleep again. I'm not sure when I slept.
What time do you think you went to bed?
Gosh, it was late. Actually, it did go out. I went and got a 6-pack of beer around midnight at town hall. Probably went to bed around 2.
And that was about midnight. You got a 6-pack of beer, right?
Yep.
Paul admitted to leaving the house at one point to visit a convenience store to buy beer, stating that he took his son with him. This detail was significant, as it appeared he was establishing an alibi with a corroborating witness, his son, who would need to be interviewed as part of the investigation. At that point in the investigation, there was insufficient probable cause to arrest or continue holding Paul, leading to his release. However, his phone was seized for further examination. Investigators deemed it critical to interview Paul's son, as Paul had stated he left the residence with him. The goal was to obtain the son's account of the evening, determine if it aligned with Paul's version of events, and identify any discrepancies that might provide further insight.
Just so you understand who I am. My name's Jeremy Kopp. I'm the detective sergeant for the sheriff's office. Okay? Obviously, you know what happened to Dad. Given that, then I need to be able to sit down and be able to talk to you. Right? How was your relationship with her?
We were close.
Yeah.
She was like my mom, but
Okay.
she wasn't my mom. But she was pretty much like my mom.
Paul's son shared his own concerns and struggles regarding the breakup between Paul and Lauren. He described the emotional toll the situation had taken on everyone involved, emphasizing that the separation was challenging for the entire family, with no one spared from its impact.
Okay. Let's go to Saturday. And just walk me through Saturday. Okay.
Day before Sunday. So Saturday, let's see. I got up around like maybe 12-ish, around 12.
The juvenile son's initial account was relatively consistent with Paul's description of the day. He mentioned engaging in routine activities, such as playing video games, going for a run, and accompanying his father to the gas station to purchase beer.
Why'd you go?
I just go with him, just because.
Yeah. I mean, do you hang with your dad quite a bit?
Yeah.
You and your dad pretty tight?
Yeah. So we just.
Fair enough to say.
Just whatever we do. Yeah.
Is it just you and Dad then going on the beer run? Mm-hmm. Okay. So you don't recall hearing any doors or anything open when you go to bed?
Right. Everything's quiet.
Okay. So it's important that you and I, as we kind of work through the details, that we're completely truthful with each other.
Right.
Okay. That's pretty important.
Right.
What do you think happened?
She was in her home sleeping, and as I know from what my dad told me, body, it could have been drugs or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
As far as I know, it could be drugs. I don't know.
Who do you think could do something like that? No guesses.
It couldn't be my dad. He's always like.
Given his age, investigators were careful not to apply too much pressure during the interview. The juvenile provided his account of the events that night, and once his statement was recorded, the decision was made to conclude the interview and proceed with the next steps in the investigation. The experience was terrifying. Guards were stationed by the teller window for protection, and the individual was escorted to their car for safety. Belgrade police even patrolled near their home to ensure the family was secure. The most frightening aspect was the realization that their family might now be in danger. It was an overwhelming and surreal experience, something that seemed unimaginable until it happened. The shock was magnified by the personal connection, as the victim had been a close and trusted friend. During the early days of being an inpatient, a constant fear lingered, the worry that someone might return to finish the job. This fear was so intense that a family member stayed in the room at all times for reassurance and safety. Despite the fear and uncertainty, faith became a source of strength. It was a time to lean on trust, often praying, "I don't understand why this has happened, Father, but I will trust in you and continue to lean on you." This unwavering reliance on faith provided a sense of comfort amid the chaos. The investigation initially lacked clarity on who the primary target of the attack was. However, there was reason to believe that Ashley's boyfriend, Ralph, might have been the last person to see her that night, making him a critical figure in piecing together the events leading up to the incident.
So, Ralph, I'm a detective with the sheriff's office, and I did some of the processing of the scene at the house. And so I have some information and I have some questions about stuff that I saw there.
It became crucial to determine what Ralph knew about the events of that night, as his insights could provide vital information to the investigation.
So tell me, when did you guys start dating?
Roughly December last year, so a year and change ago.
Okay.
Just over a year.
Okay. And how do you characterize your relationship with her right now?
We've been attempting to break up with each other for several weeks, and pretty much this week we decided together that it was the right thing to do, is to not date each other anymore.
Ralph described their breakup as amicable, stating there were no conflicts and that he and Ashley had remained friends. However, during any interview, it's standard practice to probe further and examine inconsistencies to determine if the person is being truthful.
When was the last time you actually had contact with her?
With Ashley?
Yeah.
Last night when I dropped her off.
And that was after the Livingston trip?
After the Livingston trip, right around. We decided it was a little bit before 9 o'clock.
What time did you go to bed last night, Ralph?
Pretty much, I'm going to say, I have to look at my phone, that's how I do everything, but I said goodnight to Ashley and I was up for a little while longer, maybe an hour.
So you're thinking around 11 o'clock when you went to bed?
Thinking so.
Did you go anywhere after?
I stayed at home.
Investigators aimed to get a clearer picture of Ralph's account and assess the credibility of his statements. During an interview, the initial goal is to have the individual commit to their version of events. Once that baseline is established, the focus shifts to asking tougher, more direct questions. This often requires a more confrontational approach to uncover any inconsistencies or elicit crucial details that might not surface otherwise.
Did you attempt to kill Ashley?
No.
Did you attempt to kill her roommate?
No.
Have you been in that house last night?
No. Do you believe me? Why not? You gotta ask.
Would you be willing to let us dump your phone to
Yes.
retrieve your GPS locations,
Yep.
that kind of stuff off of your phone?
Yep.
Ralph was fully cooperative throughout the investigation. He willingly allowed searches of his phone and residence, provided DNA samples voluntarily, and expressed a strong willingness to assist in any way possible. His transparency and cooperation enabled investigators to quickly rule out any potential involvement on his part. The crime lab analysis revealed a critical detail. There were two distinct sets of footprints in the photographs of the boot prints taken from the crime scene. This suggested the possibility of two suspects being involved in the homicide rather than just one. Additionally, the analysis showed that one set of prints was significantly smaller than the other. Given the earlier information that Paul and his son had been together that night and had left the house to go on a beer run, investigators decided it was essential to bring the son back in for further questioning to clarify his role and potentially uncover new details.
You and I kind of talked about the timeline and what everybody had done on Saturday, and we talked about that kind of in detail going into Sunday morning, the 7th, right? Okay. So, let's start with this.
The juvenile son was interviewed again, and his story remained consistent with his initial statement. The atmosphere was intense, with his mother present during the conversation. It was evident that he might know more than he was sharing, so efforts were made to create a supportive and comfortable environment to encourage him to open up and provide further details about what had happened.
That's pretty accurate to what you told me yesterday. Which is unfortunate, because I don't think that's actually what happened. And I was hoping that today you and I could break through that and we could talk about what actually happened. Because if I can't get you to be honest with me, I can't help you. And I don't believe that you're being completely truthful with me. And I don't know exactly why, but I'm not willing to give up on you. I think that we can get through it. Okay? I know that this is really hard for you to sit here. I know it. I can see the weight on you. And the only way I can help, you and I are honest with each other, I can't help. I can't do anything if you and I aren't honest with each other in here. Okay? Please.
At that moment, the focus shifted to staying present with him, meeting him where he was emotionally, and allowing him to set the pace of the conversation. As the interview progressed, there was a palpable sense of the walls beginning to come down, signaling that he was gradually becoming more open to sharing what he knew.
Was it just your dad?
Come on, son.
Did he tell you to go to bed? Yeah. And then what did he tell you?
Love you too, Dad.
You knew what he was going to do.
I know that I can't do that. I'm gonna lose you again. You did tell me. Dad would have stopped him. I would have totally stopped him.
Was it you or him? Tell me.
Was
You didn't have a choice.
There were no special tactics used with the juvenile son, just patience and staying present in the moment with him. When he finally reached the point of releasing the truth, he whispered the answer, his pain evident. It was a difficult and emotional moment, one that required empathy and understanding to support him as he processed and shared what he knew.
choice. I was afraid for my sisters.
I know you were.
I didn't have a choice. I had to.
After the initial breakthrough, the conversation began to flow more naturally. Once the door to his emotions and memories cracked open, it gradually became easier to widen that opening. He started to disclose more details, allowing the investigators to piece together a clearer understanding of the events.
And then how far did you go back? How far did you go in the house? Could you see the stairs? Could you see the stairs? Yeah. Could you hear him? Yes. What'd you hear? What the hell?
Father.
Following the juvenile son's initial disclosure, the information he provided pointed investigators toward Paul as the primary suspect. This led to an initial search of Paul's phone, where investigators uncovered audio recordings and text messages. These records revealed troubling details, highlighting an abusive relationship between Paul and Lauren, further solidifying Paul's potential involvement in the crime.
You've always told me you're lying. That's what I'm talking about. I'm trying to express myself now.
You're such a lying piece.
Are you serious?
What are you doing? So tired of this innocent fake. I've done everything for you. I've given up everything for you. And the only thing you ever cried about is you. That's it. And you know what? I'm gonna.
At this stage, the statements provided by the juvenile son, corroborated by the collected evidence and the additional findings from Paul's phone, collectively established probable cause. Taken in its entirety, this information was sufficient for investigators to request and obtain an arrest warrant for Paul DeWise. At the conclusion of the trial, Paul DeWise was sentenced to 220 years for the murder of his wife, Lauren DeWise, and for the attempted homicide of Ashley Van Hemert. Lauren's life was tragically ended by his actions, while Ashley was left with a life sentence of rehabilitation and the ongoing burden of living with the physical and emotional injuries she had sustained. What factors do you believe led to the tragic outcome of this case? How can we better support victims of domestic abuse to prevent such tragedies? If you found this case insightful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more content. Your feedback helps us continue to bring you these important stories.